39. It's a precision white male, 5'10", 6 foot, white shirt, blue hat.
We'll try this though. Hello and welcome to the December 2009 edition of Behind the Badge. I'm your host, Sergeant Mike Crum with the Berkeley Department of Public Safety. Here at Behind the Badge, we are trying to find new, fun ways to get our community involved with our show. We are looking for kids in our community who would like to join us here on TV and demonstrate some of the topics we cover. If you would like to join us on our show or have an idea you think we should cover, please email us at behindthebadge@berkeleymish.net or join us on Facebook. As I mentioned last month, we now have a Facebook page titled Behind the Badge. We are excited to link with our community through the internet. The holiday season is upon us once again here in the city of Berkeley. We have a few safety tips we can all use to make our holiday season more enjoyable. We have a fun, full and exciting show, so let's get started right away with some tips on winter driving with a new member of our team, Public Safety Officer Kent Harriman.
Hi, I'm Officer Harriman with the Berkeley Public Safety Department, here to talk to you today about some winter driving safety tips. Watching this program in Michigan, you already know that with the winter months comes winter weather and bad driving conditions. Snow, ice, and sleet can make driving very difficult and even dangerous here in Southeast Michigan. These are some things to know that can help you stay safe on the roads this winter. Number one, know your vehicle. Is it front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, or four-wheel drive? The type of drive that your vehicle has is very important, especially if you start to skid, as they react very differently in icy conditions. And remember, with four-wheel drive, while it does make driving easier on the winter conditions, it does not make you invincible. You still need to drive with care and caution, just as if you didn't have four-wheel drive. Also know what kind of braking system your vehicle has. Is it standard or anti-lock? The way these brakes are applied are very different, and the way that your vehicle will react in icy conditions with these different braking systems varies. It's very important to know what kind of system your vehicle has. Number two, know the conditions. If you think the weather may turn bad or it's already beginning to turn bad, check the weather before you go out. Winter conditions can change very quickly and become very worse in a short amount of time. It's very important to know what is expected. If you think the conditions are going to be too bad to drive in, try to put things off until the next day, or at least for a few hours until the snow plows and salt trucks have had time to make the roads safer. Number three, know your abilities. If you don't feel comfortable driving in certain conditions, then don't do it. You know what you're capable of and can keep yourself from getting into dangerous situations. The most important factor of winter driving is not the vehicle itself, but the person controlling the vehicle. And also don't allow people to push you out of your comfort zone. You know what your limits are in poor driving conditions. Don't allow other people to push you beyond your limits and make it dangerous for everybody on the road. Fourth, know what you need. Even if you follow these tips, you still may get into trouble on the winter roads. Know what you need to keep yourself safe while waiting for emergency responders. First, keep a blanket or coat handy in the car. It's very important to regulate your body temperature, especially if your vehicle is damaged and can no longer produce heat. It's important to keep your body temperature well regulated with a coat or a blanket. Also keep a cell phone and, if possible, cell phone charger handy in the car. That's the best way to initially get responders coming to your scene, and also if things change and your situation becomes worse, you need to keep emergency responders informed. Also, a bottle of water and some snacks can be helpful if response will be delayed. Generally in Southeast Michigan, help will not be too far out, but if conditions are too bad and too many accidents occur, you may be waiting for some time. Or if you're traveling in northern Michigan, it's likely that the response will be much longer than here in Metro Detroit. So be sure to have these items on hand to keep yourself safe while waiting for emergency responders. Remember these tips while you're driving in these winter months, and hopefully you have a safe winter season on the roads.
Winter driving is always an adventure here in Michigan. Thank you, Officer Harriman, for those safety tips we can all follow. December is Drunk Driving Awareness Month. We have a special guest with Officer Hatfield to remind us to designate a sober driver. Holiday parties are great, but here at Behind the Badge, we worry about your safety and the safety of all those traveling on our roads.
In cities across America this holiday season, police and sheriff's departments will be stepping up their patrols to help eliminate drunk driving by increasing their traffic stops, their arrests, which in turn helps reduce injuries, accidents, and fatalities. MAD, founded in 1980, has seen a decrease in alcohol-related traffic crash fatalities of 50%. What is sad is that every 45 minutes, or in about the time you're done watching this program, another person will die due to alcohol-related crash. Even scarier is that the average person has driven 87 times before their first drunk driving arrest. Countless people are put at risk because of this easily avoidable offense. With me today is Bob Willett, who works with MAD. Bob unfortunately had his son and 2 nephews killed by a drunk driver back in 1988 when they left from Berkeley headed to Waterford. Bob, welcome to Behind the Badge.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Why don't you tell us your story?
Okay. Later that evening, I got a phone call at like 2:15 in the morning. I really didn't think nothing of it because of my job. I used to get called in all the time. I worked for a water department. So I always got called in day, night, weekends, all the holidays. So just thinking it's the city calling me. So when the phone rang, I'll always remember that because when I answered the phone, they says, who are we speaking to? I said, Bob Willett. Okay, we need you to come to Pontiac Osteopathic Hospital right away. Your son has been involved in an accident. And I can remember, I'll tell everybody my exact thoughts at that point. My exact thought at that point was, your mother told you to take it easy. Now you wrecked your sister's car. I'm going to have to make arrangements for your sister to get to work because his car was broke down at that time. And I remember that. And then as we got ready to leave, I get ready to leave. My wife woke up and says, where are you going? I said, well, Kenny was just involved in an accident. I'm going to the hospital. And I was angry. I'd tell anybody. I was angry because now I woke up for something you shouldn't have. But I got ready and I left, but then it really hit when we walked into the hospital because they were standing at the door waiting for us. They said, you must be the Willets. And I said, yeah. So they put us in a room, and then they said somebody would be in to come, somebody to speak to us. And I said, well, okay, this is obviously more serious than we had thought, with the meeting at the door and everything. And in the meantime, my sister-in-law started asking, my sons are with Kenny, where are they at? We don't know what you're talking about. My sister-in-law said, my 2 boys are with Kenny. Where are they at? So we don't know what you're talking about. Your boys aren't here. And as it turned out, they weren't there. They'd actually been removed from the our son was placed on a ventilator, and then they told us they'd have to do a brainwave test and stuff. And they came in later and said, no, he had a flat line. Of course, flat line, you're dead. So a little while later, they said, we'll have to do a second one later. So they come in and said they did the second one. They said, no, there's no hope. He's passed away. So it's okay. So there is something good that came out of that. Unfortunate situation, we were able to become donor family. That's
what is it that you do with MAD outside of telling your story? How else do you help them?
I started out, actually I became a volunteer in 1988 and I slowly progressed. I actually got involved with the Oakland County chapter. I was on the board of directors there. I actually became president. At one time I was state chair for the whole organization. So I'm the type of person, if I get involved, I get involved. And the message has always been clear, I say it from an honest perspective. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. And you don't know what it's like unless you've been there, and I don't want you to be there to know it. I'll share my story, and that's what I still do.
And to the viewers of Behind the Badge is that it's very preventable.
Absolutely.
A phone call,
Yep.
walking home, and
Absolutely.
making pre-arrangements
Yep.
before the night.
Pre-arrange. Stay where you're at. When people's, and this is a typical thing they'll say to you tonight. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. We're not okay. You know as well as I do. People lose their sense of reality and the stupidity. The stupidity kicks in. I'm okay. Leave me alone. I can get home.
They only have to go a few blocks.
Oh, absolutely.
We hear it all the time.
Yeah,
Bob, I can't thank you enough for telling your story on Behind the Badge. We hope that our residents will listen to his story and think about that next time they decide to get behind the wheel. MAD's mission is to help eliminate drinking and driving. Our car manufacturers are helping by putting in systems that allow a vehicle to be disabled if someone has been drinking and tries to start a car. Here in Berkeley, we like to show a concern for drinking and driving.
Hi, how's it
We do
going?
this by education,
Good. How are things going
proactivity, and enforcement. Officers here and across the state take drinking and driving very seriously. Remember to call a cab, call a friend, or even walk, but please don't drink and drive. The cost might not only be fines and jail, but it could also cost someone their life.
We are big supporters of MAD's mission to eliminate drunk driving and its devastating effects. A special thanks to Bob Willett for being our guest on Behind the Badge. With us once again is Officer Beatty to give us some home security tips. Around the holiday season, we see an increase in crimes of opportunity. Following a few helpful tips can increase our odds of not being a victim.
Hi, I'm Officer Beatty with the Berkeley Public Safety Department, and I'm here today to discuss general home security. With the holidays fast approaching, I would like to take this opportunity to discuss general home security. The following are tips to make your house more secure, not only during the holidays, but every day. These are common sense tips that will make you feel safer, not only when you're home, but when you are away from home. Every 15 seconds in the U.S., a home is broken into. One of the best deterrents is outdoor lighting. Porch lights on at night, or you can have a motion or photo eye light on the porch, sides, and rear of the home. Thieves do not like lights. Doors and windows should be locked when you're home or away. Steel doors with steel frames are the most secure. Next would be solid doors with steel frames. All entry doors should have deadbolts and lockable handles keyed alike. Deadbolt locks should not have a key to open from the inside. You could either break the key under stress or keys get lost. All doors and windows, again, should be closed and locked when you're not at home or sleeping. Windows have frame locks that can be purchased. Windows can be left open if the frame locks are engaged. Sliding glass doors should have a stop using a metal or wood rod placed behind the moving panel. If you have a solid door, it is best to have a peephole and not open the door. These items can be purchased at your local hardware and home improvement stores. Lights on timers in various rooms should vary in times when they come on and turn off. Parents, remind your children, never open doors to strangers. You should also keep a cell phone in your room when you sleep. Due to power outages and sometimes hard lines go down throughout the night.
Well, Officer Beatty, thanks for being on Behind the Badge once again. I have a few questions for you about home security in the holiday season. Is it something we see thieves or people breaking into homes or cars? Is that something more prevalent during the holiday season?
Yes, it is. During the holiday season, the crime rate does go up, but you don't want to just focus on the holidays. Every day, you need to have security throughout your home.
So it's something we can have every day. You've given us some great tips on the lighting. You said that the lights inside and outside of the home, the doors. You said about the windows. I had a question about the window real quick. The latches on the window, can you explain those for us?
The latches on the windows, what you can do is some of the new windows come with what they call stops or locks to let the window go up just a certain amount to let fresh air in, but to keep people out. And you should have these activated whether you're home or not.
So the locks will let the window open 2 inches, 4 inches, something like that.
Relatively, possibly a maximum of about 6 to 8 inches.
So you can't get into the home, but then you can still get that cross breeze.
Correct.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Officer Beatty. Now for another area we can protect ourselves. Let's turn it over to Officer Geary.
Hello, I'm Officer Geary from Berkeley Public Safety. There are many crimes known as a crime of opportunity. These are the types of crimes in which criminals catch us with our guards down. Today, we are going to talk about one of those crimes called larceny from a vehicle. I'm calling it a crime of opportunity because for the most part, criminals are not breaking windows or picking locks, they're opening doors. Doors that the owners are not locking. This type of crime is becoming more frequent in areas all over Michigan, so we're trying to help you, our residents, and our viewers from falling victim to this crime. This type of crime can happen to anyone at any time, day or night. Here are some quick pointers to help you protect yourself from getting your belongings taken from you. 1, lock your doors. If you lock your doors, it is very unlikely that a criminal will break your window due to the attention it will cause. 2, make sure to keep expensive belongings out of sight or out of your vehicle. It only takes seconds to look into a car and see an iPod, laptop, cell phone, or GPS, and seconds after that to open your door and take it. These are some of the most common things taken from a car. 3, try to park your car in a well-lit area or in your driveway. If you have an outside light, leave it on to help yourself and your neighbors. 4, keep your windows closed tight. 5, never leave your running car unattended. It's not a good idea, and it's also against our city ordinance. 6. Be vigilant. If you see suspicious lurking around vehicles, make sure to call the police. 7. Don't think it can't happen to you. Act before, not after the crime. And lastly, don't be afraid to call us. It's our job, and we have caught many criminals because of helpful hints from our residents. Hopefully these helpful hints may prevent you from becoming a victim.
Larcenies from auto are definitely a crime of opportunity. And if you're not convinced, let me tell you a quick story. About 2 months ago, I left my vehicle unlocked in my driveway, right here in the city of Berkeley. When I went to work in the morning, I discovered someone had opened my unlocked door and stolen my GPS. So it can happen to anyone, and I knew better, but it still happened to me. So please lock your doors and remove your valuables from the vehicle. I hope you enjoyed this month's episode of Behind the Badge. Remember to join us on Facebook and email us your thoughts and questions. I'm Sergeant Crum, and I'll see you next time on Behind the Badge.